All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Region 12 Board of Education to order, September 12, 2016. Can we take attendance? Rebecca?
Anthony Amato.
Here.
Valerie Anderson. Here. Alan Brown. Gregory Cava. Here. Rebecca Devine, I'm here. Michelle Gora. Here. James Hirschfield.
Here.
Jennifer Pody. Michael Sinatra. Here. Peter Tagley.
Here.
Sydney Warble.
All right, so everyone is here, and then we have a vacancy in Roxbury, so everyone is here except Sydney and Alan Brown. All right, thank you. Item 2, opportunity for the public to comment on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to address us? If you have to go up to the podium, state your name and what town you're from. Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Erica Ryland. I'm from Washington, and I'm going to keep my remarks very, very brief. You'll be happy to hear. But I wanted to let all the board members know that last night, or sometime yesterday, I emailed to each of you a copy of basically a compilation of what I talked about at the meeting on August 29th, as well as a book of exhibits with all the copies of the emails and the other internal materials, as well as some external materials, establishing the points that I make in what I call a memo. When I was a lawyer, I used to call it a brief. So I hope that each of you got that. If you didn't, I would appreciate your letting me know, and I'll be happy to send you another copy. I also, as I said in my email, sent a copy of it to various representatives of the State Board of Education, our state senator, and our state representative. But one of the one point that I think is relevant for tonight is that if you'll read that memo, you will find that I think I've made a very good case for the fact that the referendum is likely to be invalidated because of the actions of some of the officials of Region 12 in breach of state election law. So I think you should consult counsel, and before you spend much more time and effort on this project, determine whether you in fact have a valid vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
That's Laura Miller, it's not, it's a woman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't see that. Yes, ma'am.
That's all right. Yes, good evening. My name is Laura Miller. My husband and I operate a small farm in Roxbury. I did not get into the agricultural field until 15 years ago when I purchased my first cow. Over the years, I have had many interactions with students from Nonawog's agricultural education program. I have always been impressed very much by these young people. When the idea of Shepaug having their own program was first brought up, I joined Nonawog's Ag Advisory Committee. As I mentioned, I was not involved in the agricultural industry until later in life. I wanted to see how the high school program was run, so that if or when Shepaug had their own program, I might be able to help here. While there are many outside factors at work right now that may affect the viability of this project, I want to stress the validity of it. VOAG is a term that is misunderstood by many. Vocational means of or relating to an occupation or career. Public schooling is about preparing children for colleges and careers in that order. Very few people make a career out of college. We all end up in some sort of occupation. The definition of vocational education is directed at a particular occupation and its skills. By this definition, you could correctly call law school or medical school vocational education. I have heard that there are some who think that by bringing in these vocational education students, our English and math scores will decline. I find this to be a very bigoted statement. The careers that an Ag STEM program provide training for are very high-tech. Math and science are heavily stressed, as both are very necessary in these fields. The parliamentary procedure and public speaking skills that are learned in FFA would certainly work hand in hand to keep English skills very sharp. While some seem to have a myopic view of public school education, I have a more broad-minded and far-sighted view. I feel it is my duty to contribute to the education of not only Region 12 students, but of all the students in this state, indeed in this entire country, because all of these young people will have a part in shaping our future. We should not pursue this program with the idea of making money, but rather making a better future for all of us. I have heard that there are some that believe this program lacks the flexibility of 21st century education demands. Every state has public colleges with large animal science departments. Some of the best animal science departments are in four-year private colleges, such as Harvard and Cornell. While we continue to learn how to live softly on this earth and eat what this earth provides, STEM education will be very much in demand in the 21st century. The most alarming risk to the future of our public school system is its closure. Certainly, with the projected decline in enrollment, we can also expect a decline in educational opportunities. There are certain things that just can't be done with such a small number of students. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Jessie Barr. I'd like to start by saying I have.
Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry. What town do you live in?
I'm sorry, New Preston.
Thank you.
I'd like to start by saying thank you so much for serving on the Board of Education. The future of our community and our children rests in your hands. I, like so many in our community, came out on a cold, rainy day last November to approve spending funds to build the Ag STEM program at Shepaug. I sold baked goods to support the Washington Primary School PTO outside the Washington Town Hall and watched as an amazing number of voters came out that day to make their voices heard. It was obvious that this was an important decision to our community and that people had strong feelings about it. The vote passed overwhelmingly. 1,663 votes in favor and only 757 votes opposed. Our community sent a strong message that day. There is an incredible amount of support in this community for our Ag STEM program. We know that the cost is based off projected numbers. We know that these numbers can change. This project is about our community and our children, not about numbers. It is about making our school system viable and ensuring that our community remains intact. I was disappointed to hear that the state had delayed our project a year, but that did not change my support for the Ag STEM program. There are people from the minority opposition that are using this delay to remind you all of the reasons that they think this program is too risky. They come out to the meetings and attempt to sway you from moving forward on a matter that the towns have already voted overwhelmingly in favor of doing. The risk to our schools and our community is far greater if we do nothing than if we move forward with the Ag STEM program. So where, might you ask, are the voices of the Ag STEM supporters? Why have we not been here in force as we were on that November day? Many of us were surprised to find out that this was even still a question. We had already banded together to say yes, an overwhelming majority, to make this happen for our towns. Thinking the matter had been decided, we've moved forward. We've been home with our children, preparing them for the school that our community expects to be there for them. I ask you to remember this tonight and in the future. I urge you to aggressively move forward with the Ag STEM program, to do everything possible to afford our community the best chance to be approved by the state. This is an amazing opportunity for our community, and we overwhelmingly support it. Please don't squander it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ma'am.
My name is Mary Weber, and I like to say I'm from Region 12. Others know I'm from Washington. I was on the Board of Education when we were voted a blue ribbon school. I am very proud of that. I don't want our blue ribbon school to go down the drain because a bunch of people who have sent a letter to the Danbury Board of Education and the mayor of Danbury and all sorts of other people are out to sink Shepaug because they don't want to spend their tax dollars. Probably they are the people who sent their own children to private school or who now don't have any children in the school. I don't have any children in the school. My children are graduated long ago. They live in Hawaii and New Jersey, and I have nothing to gain by saying that I want the school open, except that I want the school open for our Shepaug family because I care about our kids. And I think many, many, many people who have children who have graduated care about our kids still, not because their kids are here, but because that's what we do. We think locally and we think globally and act locally. I don't want this project to go down in flames because a bunch of people care only about their money. It's an opportunity that we have that we cannot squander. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, in the back?
Lillian Murphy from Bridgewater. I'm a senior citizen, and I feel we as a community need to support the children in our region. I fully support the Ag STEM program. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Tim Laughlin. I'm a resident of Washington. I've spoken to you many times before in support of the Ag STEM program. In fact, I remember the October where we decided to move forward in a conversation prior to the referendum and talked about the benefits of the program. And at that time, we talked a lot about young families and those families locating in the region's towns. I explained then, and I'll do again today, that I bought my house with my wife in 2013. I live on a road, about 10 people. I would say on that road, there are only 5 that are full-time residents. The other 4 live there on weekends. I'm going to be a father in 45 days. I'm looking at things with a different lens, and I'm thinking about my children in this community and my wife and I wanting to stay here and build a family and build a home. Ag STEM is what is going to save this system. It is what is going to continue to make this school system viable. There's been a lot of folks who have had different opinions about that, but as folks have said tonight, voters overwhelmingly gave a mandate, and that mandate was to proceed with the project. And I don't think at the time of the vote anyone could have understood or foreseen some of the circumstances that we faced at the state level, but the overwhelming premise that we should continue to invest in our schools, that we should have strong community schools that build our community and make it someplace where young families want to locate is important. I find it concerning that there are residents and particular opponents of this project that are representing the views of my Board of Finance and my Board of Selectmen, 2 different towns. I certainly have spoken with the Selectmen's office, and I'm attending the Board of Finance meeting as a resident and a taxpayer to complain about that happening and to complain about those comments. And again, look, I don't want to move. I don't want to sell my house. I want to raise my family here, and a good school system is the #1 thing that makes me want to stay and also makes other families want to locate here. I remember at that same meeting in October, there was someone who said, I want to come to Washington. I want this program. I'm going to move here. She came to a meeting a couple weeks ago, and she had a deed to a house she bought in our community. We need to have more young families, not only to increase the enrollment of our schools, but to make sure our communities are viable in the future. And I highly encourage you to continue to support this project, to make it a reality. And I think it's commendable that all of you volunteer your time and have taken a lot of effort to do a thorough analysis about how this could work, what the numbers are. But at the end of the day, we're reaching a point where we need to make a decision. And I hope that decision is to move forward and be shovel-ready, because that is what the voters of the region's 3 towns have said should happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck to you and your wife. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Doug Delisle. I live in Bridgewater. My daughter Danielle was the recipient of an excellent education here at Shepaug when she graduated. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how long ago now. She's 29, so we can figure it back. Wonderful school in its time. Ms. Ryland has compiled a compelling case and documentation regarding the numbers in terms of enrollments, and it's just in the process of being disseminated, I believe. So as this word gets out and is made more public, I think it'll become really quite aware that the projections were really flawed in the beginning, and I'm not sure of the attempts made to really correct them to the state powers that be. But in any event, school is a business like anything else, with the exception of the children are primary. However, things change. We'd like to retain our high school as long as we possibly can, if it makes sense. But when you have a school system that's already among the highest, if not the highest cost in the state, attention has to be paid. I urge all of you to pay a lot of attention to Ms. Ryland's work in this. She really laid it out letter by letter. And it's really important to understand that this is not an emotional case for most of the people that oppose this, but really is an effort to rationalize this and to disseminate it to the public so that they know exactly what they're getting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Ken Schultz. I'm from Washington, and I too have been up here many times throughout this process. Again, I'm the Washington Primary School PTO president, and it's a position that I've had for a couple of years, and I do take that position very seriously. I never want to stand up in a public forum and speak on behalf of the parents of the primary school unless I'm very certain that I actually do speak for what their views are. And I can honestly say with very much comfort that the parents of Washington Primary School only have 3 words to say, and that is get shovel ready. No one at the primary school is going to send their children to a high school their freshman year if they know they're not going to finish their senior year. And like someone else said, if we have to ship our children, whether it's to Litchfield or Wamogo or wherever they might have to go, and you have no word on their education, well, we're packing up and moving too. And what that ultimately will do, will put an expiration date on Booth, Burnham, and Washington Primary School. And then, of course, the businesses around. That being said, one of the things I did this summer is I went and I got names, about 40 names of residents who are pro Ag STEM and want to get shovel ready, and I'm going to leave it with the secretary. What's interesting about these 40 names is a large majority of these names are senior citizens that have no stake with their children. The message from many of the seniors that I spoke to at the senior center, the message is you want to leave a town better than the way you found it. It's not about money. It's not about being fiscally responsible. It's about what's right for your children's education. Board of Education, do what's right for your children's education. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Kirsten, and I live in Washington. Part of why I'm up here, I support the program. I thank you folks up there, some who I've known for over 30 years. I trust the presentation you gave us. I'm youngest of 7 who went through the school system, and have been a big part, I think, our name of the community in town. Upon my graduation, I worked at the Glenholm School Special Needs School for about 4 or 5 years, working with some pretty challenging kids who came from some pretty tough backgrounds. I've coached football at the Gunnery. I've coached baseball here the last 15 years. I've officiated high school and prep basketball at a fairly high level the last 15 years. So I've been around a lot of campuses, spoken to a lot of coaches, parents, players. My wife's a teacher, my brother's a teacher. So I have, I feel, a fair amount of experience with kids in different schools in that regard. Not because I graduated here, because it was one of the best experiences, but having walked through other classrooms, other hallways, I don't really look at it, and I don't mean to offend anybody here. I'm not going to apologize for my passion. I don't look at it as a dollar and cents thing, okay? I don't look at it, I don't know what goes on in Danbury, the letters. I just kind of caught wind of it 5 minutes ago. I pay attention to papers a little bit, and you could say, well, maybe you're not informed. I'm informed enough that I trusted these folks up here who presented it. This school system is regarded around this side of the state as one of the highest. Numbers are down, we can't control that. I believe it was Tim who spoke a little bit. I live a mile outside of Baldwin Hill. On a Saturday morning, I see more non-Connecticut plates than I see Connecticut plates. That's great. I don't know if that's always good for this town. Maybe this is why we're in this predicament. We can't control that, okay? But I can tell you this. if it comes down to dollars and cents and numbers and stuff, and we live in Roxbury, Bridgewater, and Washington, where I can see in the fall $1 million homes and things like that, I don't think people are really concerned about kids. I have a 5 and a 3-year-old, so now I put a face when they go on that bus. If they have half the experience I had growing up in this town, and it's not just playing sports, theater, things like that, it's the people, the community, the parents, the coaches that watched out, then I'll be pretty fortunate. I can imagine having to go to Nonawag or drive my son or daughter down the road and pick them up from swimming or basketball or theater in 7 or 8 years in Brookfield. I hear the stories about more AP and stuff. I have brothers, my wife teaches. That's because of the size of the school. On my high school baseball team, 2 kids went to Brown, another one went to West Point, Lafayette. I can give you schools. They were pretty good students. So I do support this program, and I would ask those, and I don't think I'm going to change them. I think it's like the big, on the national scene, you're not going to, if you're a Hillary, you're a Hillary. If you're Trump, you're Trump. I get that. But try to put a face. Go down, volunteer at maybe the baseball, the youth soccer programs, put a face in those kids. That's what it comes down to. It's not about me, you, or them. It's about the kids. And having worked with some of the most challenging kids who came from horrific backgrounds to affluent kids at the gunnery, affluent kids here, that's the #1 priority. It's the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Janet Boniuto from Washington. The first thing I want to say is that the people who have questioned this process and AgSTEM, we are not looking at it from a dollars and cents point of view. We are looking at it as to whether this AgSTEM is going to be sustainable and viable for our towns. It's very hard to be accused of being cheap, I guess, and saying, well, I sent my kids to Shepaug, and now they're graduated, and so, I don't care about this place. I do care about this place. I know that when I moved here in 1979, the school was here for me. Both of my sons graduated, and I expect to return the favor to the younger generation. Scott Workoven, I appreciate your words last meeting. We do need to make this place better. We have an obligation to make it better. The problem is we are worried that this is not the plan to make Shepaug better. I think that the young families in our 3 towns have been threatened of a school closure. My husband has said it, and I will say it again. In 1990, our oldest son graduated with 68 students in his class. In 1995, our youngest son graduated with 48 students in his class. I think the graduating class this past year, was 79 students. I know that populations are declining all over this state, but I think it was wrong to threaten closure of this school and say that was the only option for Shepaug. It's either AgSTEM or we go bust. That was wrong to promote that idea that we have no other options. We have looked at the numbers of the projected enrolled students. They are very small. We are worried about this. If you invest $39.5 million into this project and it doesn't succeed, we have to pay the whole $39.5 million back to the state. It's very troubling when you look at the emails that we obtained through FOI, and we see that you knew all along, that a lot of you knew that the numbers were very small. They were not what you stated. The 240 enrollment was not, there was no way you were going to get 240 students, to come here. I'm just worried that you haven't been truthful with us. My last question, I haven't asked any questions, but I do have a question. And I would like to know, are you going to make public the revised forecast that you have prepared for the state so that we will know what the real numbers are? We need to know that this is a viable program for our 3 towns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
John Boniuto, also from Washington. And I think I can reiterate what my wife said. I'm positive there's a lot of passionate people about this program. But if you take a look at the enrollment projections as the State Commissioner of Education, and the State Department of Administrative Services Commissioner, her duty, her name is Melody Curry, her duty in order to present the priority list to the state is to investigate enrollment projections before the state is going to fund any project. Fortunately, the state did look into enrollment projections, and they're now realizing that the enrollment projections are nowhere near the 240 students that the board and the administration originally proposed. Do something even easier. Call the school districts yourselves. Find out how many people they're willing to give up in their declining enrollment to ship them 30 miles away, to pay for busing, pay for additional tuitions when their budgets are already strained. They simply will not supply the number that we need. I have calculated less than 60. Some people say it might be 100, but it's never going to be the 196 that we need to make it financially viable. You talk about people being worried about their pocketbooks. At what point are we going to drag this thing along till we realize it's costing us an incredible amount of money, a big waste really, to realize that it's going to fail? 2 weeks ago, Valerie said she's tired of hearing the same old from the opposition. But we were never allowed to ask legitimate questions in the beginning. They were always brushed off at like it's a win-win. It's never going to it's not going to fail. You know, we can't walk away from it. The money is there, and obviously that didn't come out to be exactly fruitful. Greg Cava stated twice at these meetings that the state is concerned about our project based on the space we needed for animals. Call Costas Diamantis at the Department of Administrative Services. It took me 2 minutes to find out that is not what the state is concerned with. The state is concerned with enrollment projections. And I'm sure they've investigated it even further than I have by now. I had some other things, but lastly, I don't feel that any of us should be ashamed for simply investigating and bringing to the surface and pointing out all the behind-the-scenes wrangling and deception and spin that was permeated this project. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Dave Workoven. I'm from Washington. Been a resident for 45 years. I want to start by thanking everybody sitting out here for caring enough about our children to donate your time, devote your time in ways that are going to help us, especially for pursuing plans that will enable us to retain and improve our already exceptional schools. While I do have many personal reasons for wanting to see the schools continue to flourish, including 3 grandchildren in Washington, I want to talk from the town point of view. I'm on the Board of Selectmen in Washington, and I've heard that there's great concern among town leaders that this project is no longer where it was when it was approved by 70% of the voters. Well, that's not the case in Washington. The Board of Selectmen unanimously are in favor of moving this project forward. And that was, I spoke with Mark Lyon this morning, and we have never taken an official vote, but I've talked to Jay Hubblebank several times and in informal discussions, and that's our unanimous feeling. The second thing is that there was a so-called failure fund that I've heard about in the last couple of days. And again, in talking with Mark, there was a phone conversation between our Board of Finance chairman and Mark, and that's it at this point. It has not been to a Board of Finance meeting, and thus it hasn't been to a Board of Selectmen meeting. So, it's a little information for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Samantha Steinis. I'm from Roxbury, and I want to thank you again for all of the hard work that you have all done. I know you volunteer your time, and at times it might seem thankless, but there are so many families and residents and parents like myself who really do appreciate all that you're doing. And once again, I'm here to show my support to move forward with getting shovel ready for Ag STEM. One of the things I just do want to bring up is a letter that was sent to Danbury Mayor and several other board members regarding the town leaders apparently having doubts about this project. And I spoke to Barbara Henry about 2 hours ago, and she said she completely supports this project, as do the other members of the board on Roxbury. So that was a false statement, and I'm sure if you speak to her, you'll get confirmation of that. But she did give me permission to say that. Lastly, someone spoke up here about this not being a dollars issue. But again, in this very same letter that was sent to many people in Danbury, it states that Brookfield and New Milford annually charge about $15,000 for each out-of-region student. And this person goes on to say that it would be better to send our students to other schools. Specifically, he mentioned Bridgewater students. He did not mention Roxbury or Washington students. He said that they would be better off going to New Milford or Brookfield. And he did say that it would save the town if there were 24 Bridgewater students and they chose to enroll in 2 neighboring towns, that would be a savings of $225,000 to, let me see, $575,000 per year. So apparently it is dollars and cents. To me, I'm a mom. I have children here. I moved here so my children could be part of this school, as many parents here made a lot of sacrifices to be able to live here, and I want my children educated here. I want my children to graduate from here, as many parents do. I don't care about the dollars. The children of this community deserve a school to go to, and they deserve the best education, and this is where it is. So please move forward with getting shovel ready.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everybody. Christy Hardy from Roxbury. I've been up a couple of times to address you all, but I just wanted to come back out and come back out for the support of the Ag STEM program and moving forward with being shovel ready. It's really important not only for my children who are currently at Shepaug in 3 different phases of Shepaug, but also for the future children that come into our community. If we don't have a viable school system, all of us are going to be affected, whether we support this program or not. It's going to affect our bottom line for the dollars and cents that everyone's worried about in our property values, and this is nothing that you haven't heard already. But I just wanted you to know that we support it. We continue to support it. My husband couldn't be here tonight because he chooses to commute 4.5 hours a day from Roxbury to work so that we can stay in this community. So it's very important to have that Ag STEM program coming through for our son, who is very interested in the program, and for our daughters to, have that Shepaug graduation that they are so looking forward to, and it's really, really important. So I ask that you continue to go forward with it being shovel-ready.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Susan Kenny Nicholas, and I'm a proud graduate of Shepaug and a parent of a Shepaug graduate. I've been a teacher in the district for many years. In fact, I've worked in each of the amazing schools that make up the Shepaug district. I've also lived in Washington since 1961. And I'll give a little story. We came here for summer vacation, and my mom took a look around this area and the schools and said, my kids are not going back to the Bronx. They're staying here. And I am very lucky that she made that decision. It wasn't an easy decision. My dad had to stay in New York working for about a year and a half before he could come here. I've also lived in Washington since 1961, and I own a home in the district. I believe in the right of a student to be educated within this district. I'm a supporter of the Ag STEM program because it's what's right for our students. I was here a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't speak because I was just blown away by the negativity, and I had to come back tonight to say this. The people of our 3 towns have passed referendums to keep our 3 primary schools open and to pursue the Ag STEM program here at Shepaug. I was a supporter of the consolidation of the elementary schools, but the people spoke, and it was decided, so I continue to support that decision. I want to make something utterly clear. I really have no stake in the Ag STEM program except as a taxpayer, for I believe I'll be retired before or soon after the program opens. I have no children in the district, but I wholeheartedly support the Ag STEM program and would like to thank the Board of Education and the administration for giving our students the possibility of this wonderful opportunity. In conclusion, I would like to remind everyone once again that this has been supported by a majority of people in the district by referendum. Thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate the ability to be able to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, Jim McDonough from Washington. I think I could not disagree more with the statement that a school is a business. I mean, anyone who's spent time in a school realizes that that's just not the case. And I think it could be extended to say that living in a small town is not about dollars and cents. And today, as I was running in Steep Rock, I was thinking, really, it's about a social contract. And we do things that we don't get compensated for. It's a stupid business decision. I'm an EMT. I gave up 5 months of my life to go through EMT training just so I could have the privilege of getting up at 2:30 in the morning and help somebody who's having a heart attack or falling down the stairs or just needing a lift assist back into bed. And, you know, one of the reasons I do that is because it helps especially older couples stay in their houses with their spouses a little bit longer. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 times a month or however many times we respond, we do that. But again, it's not a business decision. And I think when it comes to education, the social contract is pretty clear that, you know, we all, if you had kids that went through here, went through Shepaug, the generation before supported you. If your kids benefited from this school being built in 1970, people paid for that. And now it's sort of your turn and everybody's turn to turn around and say, okay, we'll give the families that are growing here, the people that are moving here, the people that are having kids in 45 days, we'll turn around and we'll do our damnedest to help them out and to have a viable school. And I guess that's pretty much all I would like to say tonight. And I thank you for all the work that you do. And I hope that, you know, the decision-making that you do isn't in this forum with a cacophony of opinions going back and forth, but in the quiet places where you can hear the voices of all those people who did come out in November and vote in support of the Ag STEM program. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
name is Mary Sprong. I'm from Roxbury. And in July, my 10-year-old daughter came to the meeting that unfortunately wasn't televised that night and spoke her heart out about how much she's looking forward to this program and how she was involved in the invention convention that took place in Roxbury last fall, and she was able to go and attend at UConn and wants to become an engineer and is excited about it. This is why we're doing this. It's about creating opportunities for our kids and grandkids in our community and our region. There are kids out there who are interested in this and will be excited about this. And I think that if you build it, they will come. So please support Getting Shovel Ready.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Scott Workhoven. I'm a resident of Washington. I attended this school, and I will have my children going through this school. I'm looking forward to them being a part of this school and this community. And I would like to urge you again to please proceed with this program so we can be shovel ready. I've talked to several parents in the elementary school, as Ken spoke with earlier. It would be nice to get everybody who supported it here. However, last 2 weeks ago was the first night of school. There's open house tomorrow. There's only so much time parents can be out and away. But the overwhelming support among the parents that we speak with and the people in the community is the same as it was last November. So thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else? I'm sorry. Is there anyone else? Public comment? Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Valerie?
I won't read them, but we all got several emails, and we did in the previous meeting, and these people, for one reason or another, could not attend tonight. Of course, we all got a letter from Ms. Ryland as well. Thank you. But just for the record, there was a very nice letter from Robert and Pamela Lee, a very nice letter from, Jim McDonough was here, Louise Wayne and Louise Churick, Sarah Bellinger, Michelle Franklin, Amy Julia Becker, and that's it for today. So
All right,
nice
thank you.
letters of support that we all have received.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you all. Then moving on, item 3, the consent agenda. The only item on the consent agenda is our business meeting, August 29, 2015. Is there anyone who wants to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, hearing no one, then the consent agenda is approved. I'm sorry? Yes, 2016, that should be, sorry. August 29, 2016 minutes. Thank you for that correction. Report of the chair. Given the length of what we've heard tonight, I don't have any other report other than to state for the public that this is weighing very heavily on the minds of the Board of Education. We're taking it very seriously, what everyone is having to say. We're not taking this lightly. The board has supported this project, the AgSTEM project, and we will continue to do what we think is in the best interest of the region going forward. So I know people are looking for decisions from the board. I've said before that I hope to have a decision as soon as possible. We are looking at information and hope to have a decision as soon as possible. So believe me, it's on the front of our agenda. So thank you all for your concern and your comments. All right, superintendent's report? Yes.
I want to ask a quick procedural question. We have 1, 2, 3 cameras trained on us right now, plus a 4th. And I had mentioned to you before my feeling of discomfort for any private citizen to come in with whatever device they want to record us when we're amply recorded and we're part of public record. It's staring at me right now. Sure hope the lighting is good, but I think we have to develop some kind of protocol. When we have coverage like this, we don't need additional private citizens photographing us.
All right. Well, yes, Peter?
Well, it's a public meeting.
And it's publicly recorded right now.
So,
Okay.
big deal. Anybody can come in here with a camera and put us on TV or whatever they want. There's no law against it. I mean...
Actually, there is.
There's
There's a statute in which the board can develop its own protocol for that. Yes, indeed, these are public meetings. We have recording devices, and we have 3 cameras now. We don't necessarily need a 4th. That could indeed cause some issues. So it's up to the board and the head of our policies committee to give us some documentation that we can all agree on the ground rules so that we know what to expect, and this is not expected.
Jim?
Mr. Boniuto chooses to film the meetings for whatever purpose. The board can develop protocol, and we can look into that. I can ask our policy committee to look into that. Peter?
Well, I was going to say, if the board as an entity is so concerned that there are enough votes for it, why don't you just have our attorney take a look at it then? That would
I
simplify it.
have asked our attorney.
Have you?
It's as long as the person doesn't disrupt the meeting and is, not in the front row and is, it's permitted. The board can establish certain protocol, but there's nothing that I can do to stop it as long as it's within reason. So I appreciate your concern. Thank you. No, thank you, sir. All right, moving on, superintendent's report. Dr. Castellino?
Yes, as far as correspondence goes, I do want to let you know that Mr. Matt Parachi has been appointed to the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors Board of Control, and he's serving as the president-elect. So in 2 years, he will be the president. Fabulous educator, and he's our athletic director and a dean. So he does a great job, and also is very well respected in the community. We have CABE conference, just so those of you who may be interested in attending. Right now, Rebecca, Michelle, and myself are going, but it is in November. If you're interested, please talk to Debbie. She'll be happy to register you. We have a retreat next Monday night at 6 p.m. We will serve a light dinner. That'll be next Monday night. We have one appointment, Autumn Jensen, at the front entrance security. And that's my report tonight. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the superintendent? All right, thank you. Committee reports. Greg, building committee, anything to report?
We did not meet last week because we were waiting for some information. We did not meet last week. We're still waiting for some information. We'll schedule a meeting as soon as we have that, so we can look at the issues we talked about last time.
All right, thank you. Education, a curriculum, Michelle or Michael, anything?
Yes, so our next education meeting, which is the week after the retreat, Teresa DeBrito will be here going over the scores, our test scores. And the following month, Todd Dyer will be doing his report on the class of 2016. Michael and I are going to be meeting this week with Teresa and possibly some others to talk about the year and sort of come up with a plan for that. But as always, if anyone has any education items that they would like to hear about, please let us know, and we will get them on the agenda at some future meeting.
All right, thank you. Anything for Michelle or Michael? All right. Facilities, Greg, anything?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle?
Skipped one.
Ed Advance.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, I went to facilities. Greg, is there anything? No. All right, going back, I'm sorry. Ed Advance, Valerie or Michelle?
Yeah, I know. So
Ed Connection?
Ed Advance is the new name for Ed Connection. They changed their name because some online college chose the name Ed Connection, and it was creating confusion. So we had a board meeting September 1st, and Jeff Kitching, we hired him to be the director towards the end of the school year last year. It was in the spring, and he's just done a fabulous job of getting out to meet all of the people and really getting a handle on what the Ed Advance does. He's changed up some of the reporting for the board so that we have a better understanding of what Ed Advance does. I learned more about what Ed Advance does in this meeting than I really knew after 2 years of attending meetings. One thing I learned is that they have 1,000 employees. They're like the second largest employer in the county, possibly. And what he did is he had a convocation for the employees, as most school districts do, and he shared that presentation with the board, and it was just very, very exciting, all of the work that's being done. They've had a great year. The budget is looking great because of the enrollment that they have in their programs. Ed Advance does so much for our whole region. They provide lunch programs, they provide special education they run a school down in Danbury for students that need to be outplaced, before and after school programs, adult education. I mean, just a huge list of services that they provide. One of the things that they do that is transportation, and it was just sort of a little funny note that the name change has been a real bear for them, and apparently DMV is they have something like 40 vehicles on the roads transporting students, and they have to go individually and re-register each one. So that's just, so there have been some nightmares in the name change, but otherwise things are going well, and they provide a lot of curriculum guidance and services for our region. So it's just a remarkable organization, I think.
Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
All right. Finance, Valerie, anything?
We met prior to this meeting, and we went over the preliminary fiscal year end, ending in June 30th, in which our esteemed business manager took it down to $9,000. That's how precise his budgeting skills are. So we will return about $9,300 to the towns with tuition income, which we, of course, always give to the towns, and in which tuition income from Ag STEM will be given to the towns when and if we get the Ag STEM up. So that is 0.4% for this next budget year, and he has already started with our auditors the auditing process. Then we reviewed the August 31st, the first month fiscal year, in which we're tracking at about 6% versus 13% of the previous year-to-year comparison. But
Excuse
that's
me, Valerie, I'm sorry. For the public, can you explain what you mean by that? We're tracking 6%?
Well, the first month's operating budget shows a remainder of 6% in the operating budget not used. But that's tracking, 13% was what we had in the previous year, but that's because, frankly, we are using some of our money to kind of pre-buy and be ahead of the time period and not wait until the end of the school year, and most of it is encumbered, set aside for contractual reasons. There were no particular debates going forward, except an interesting and perhaps wave of the future in which now the school district has to pay for some of its internet cost that prior had been covered by the state. And we know that there are certain things percolating on the state level for operating budgets and economic cost sharing that, who knows, this might be a bellwether or a canary in the coal mine. But we have no other issues were discussed for the budget at this particular point. And once again, we go over every item in the budget, every object code for every month. We discuss it in the Finance Committee. We debate every item if we see anything of interest, anything that seems off or perhaps under budgeted. And the best way to find out the financial condition of this school district at any time, in any way, is by looking at the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting, which are prepared by Bob. We also did a look at the 1% Capital Reserve Fund. what projects are still pending, what projects are going to be closed up soon, and just cut to the chase, there's an available $313,000 in that fund right now. Then we looked at the reconciliation of the capital non-recurring account, the 1%, what we technically call the elementary school lease. That isn't technical, that's what we call it. We have undesignated right now after work has been done in the elementary schools, which is what we're supposed to do according to our lease arrangements with the 3 towns. We partner with the 3 towns to see what needs to be done, and that work is done, and we allocate $100,000 specifically for that. That's not limited to, but that's a specific allocation. And we have used that money, and we have a new allocation. So what is left right now is $1,000 in that fund, but because we start a new fiscal year, we have yet another $100,000 into it. So we start the new fiscal year, and we'll outline whatever work projects need to be done in the elementary schools. And I think that was it for the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Valerie? Peter?
No, I just thought it may be good from a public relations standpoint to somehow get out to the public that we're doing things.
Oh, yeah.
As far as fixing up the buildings, keeping them in good shape, that we're not sitting here making ad hoc decisions, that the board is at work doing some very good things. And I don't think we get that out to the public enough, of what we're doing to maintain the buildings, the structures, and improve them for the educational process. I think it would be good to somehow, we don't have a committee that does that, but somehow maybe a superintendent could make an effort somehow to get these pieces of information out, that we just don't sit here collectively and talk about things, we get things done.
Actually, mention was made of that, to have the occasional press release.
Yeah, okay.
Some things aren't very sexy, like a variable frequency drive motor. They seem to be important. And certainly, you know, better minds than mine have designated that on the list, and these are important things to talk about. We are taking care of our buildings.
All right, thank you. Anything else for Valerie? All right, Valerie, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Long-range planning, Alan, anything?
Yeah, we meet on Thursday the 15th. We are going to be creating and planning our use of panorama surveys for surveys at Region 12. And then we're also going to be just quickly reviewing our International Baccalaureate questions, if there's time for that. Thursday, 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Alan? All right, negotiations, Greg?
Yeah, nothing really new there, but we are commencing the negotiation of the teacher contract. We have not started. We have commenced negotiation of the process of negotiating the teacher contract, although we have not actually started negotiations yet. We're doing our preliminary work, and then we'll probably start them in October.
All right, thank you. And policies and bylaws, Michelle?
We're meeting in 2 weeks before the Education Committee. We had great plans for the summer, but we took it off. So
All right.
we will take up our agenda again starting in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you all for the work that you're doing.
Could I just for a minute on policies
Yes.
and procedures? I have yet again the FOI Act and the use of private people videotaping, Section 1-226, so I will resend it. I'll send it to Peter and to Michelle and back to you, Jim, because I would like to have some protocol set up, and we are allowed to do that under FOI.
All right, thank you. All right, item 7, old business, 7.1, current enrollment compared with Dr. Prouda's projections. Dr. Costino?
Yes. In your packet, you received the enrollment, and it was asked last week to compare it to Peter Prouda's report. So you can see the first line going down has his projections. So, for example, I'll just use Burnham. It's the first school right there. He projected 50 students, and the enrollment is 47. But then out of those 47, 2 are others. They're out of the tuitioning in. And then is it 5? Let me make sure. Yes, 5 of them are students from other towns. So 1 is from Roxbury and 4 is from Washington. So although you have students from the region in Burnham, Washington and Roxbury are still responsible for the costs of those students. But we do offer a very liberal flow of children if parents are willing to transport them. So if, a lot of parents, if they live in Danbury, for example, work in Danbury, they live in Washington, some of them like to utilize Burnham School, this is just an example, on the way maybe to work. That kind of thing happens. So as you look down the list, you see that the population that Dr. Prouda projected was 690. The enrollment is 705, but when you take away all of the students who are not our official students from the 3 towns, we're down to 658. But then you add in the Sherman, and you add staff, and you add any students who are tuitioning in, and that gets you back up to 705. So that's the enrollment.
Michael?
I'd just like to thank the superintendent and her staff, because I think that larger number in the face of the dire projections is something to be commended. I think that there must be something that we're doing right in terms of attracting those students from other towns, and I think that's something that we should be celebrating.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Valerie?
We have probably the biggest single group is in our pre-K.
Yes.
And now that I'm not concerned with Judea anymore, sadly, may it rest in peace, I think it's a great program, certainly, that we are providing all Region 12 kids to have this available pre-K. Curious, have we done any studies where these kids wind up? I mean, obviously, we're probably getting a chunk going to Montessori and Rumsey for their elementary school careers.
We haven't done a study. I can tell you a lot of them stay here, but I can look into that. We can look back at, the last couple of years and see how many are still with us. I don't know if we can find them all, but we certainly can find out how many have remained. And I just want to remind everybody that the 52 seems like it's a lot of kids, but remember, you can come once you're 2 years, 9 months, all the way to 5 and even, up until 6. So, it's a big group of kids. It's not like there's 1 grade or 2 grades of students there. I think that's important to remember.
Well, if I might just continue for a minute, I think that probably is, until we get AgriSTEM up and moving here, probably one of the best ways to get families in here. But I still think it would be something I'd like to have the administration think about. I know the reasons pro and con, but if we could scatter that pre-K to Burnham and Booth as well as WPS, maybe it'd be more encouraging for the people that live in those communities to really, start making choices to have their kids in Region 12. And they, once you start in a school system, you'll probably not want to leave and go to a private school. Yet they're all concentrated in Washington right now. It'd be a good use of our resources if we can do it, knowing it's a REACH program.
All right, thank you. Jen?
I just was doing a little adding quickly and just noticing at the numbers of the students of all 3 schools combined for each grade. And I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but I'm just kind of looking at the reality, and I'm seeing that there's 35 students in the first grade in total, 36 in the second, 38 in third, 4th grade is 43, 5th grade is 58. So those seem to be very small numbers for a graduating class at a high school level. So I feel like, again, it kind of reiterates the importance of having Ag STEM and bringing schools catchment towns outside of here to come to our school so we can educate not only them, but our students as well, so we can be a robust whole package. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Anthony?
Pat, or maybe Kim, you could help, but I'm looking for volunteers here. Can you speak to the 15 kids from Sherman that came in this year in 9th grade, about what's behind that? Because we went from an average of just a few in high school, and we spiked up to 15. So is this the beginning of a trend? Or, so any insight as to what drove those numbers?
We have had a low number of Sherman students coming in, and anecdotally, I've heard that since many years ago, before I was here, that there was a waiting list at Shepaug, and that kind of put a chill on it. And there were also some transportation issues. Since that time, the board has worked with the community to provide transportation, but I can say, and this is anecdotal, however, I can say that when the parents came to Shepaug to talk, the Sherman parents came to Shepaug to talk about the possibilities for their children, 90% of the questions that I was asked was about Ag STEM. They were excited to see the improvements that we've made to the mall and to the appearance of the school. And I think, Kim Gallo, I think that gave them a very positive feeling about the future of our school. And I thank the board for the work that they've done. And I also believe, and I know, that they asked many, many questions about Ag STEM, especially about, for the students that weren't interested necessarily in the program, would we be making those curricular connections? Would the Ag STEM program affect all students? And we talked very much about how that is our goal and has been from day one. So I don't have a study. I won't pretend it's data, but I can tell you, in my experience, in what I had with the parents, they were very interested in the improvements that we're making to our school as a hopeful sign for the future, and they were extremely interested in the possibility of Ag STEM coming to our school, whether or not their students were interested in the program.
I just want to add that Mr. Dyer and the guidance department have done a great job of outreach to the school. They visited the school. Sherman students are invited here. Parents are invited here. We try to encourage them to come to our theater programs, our sports programs, give them a free ticket to come on in. When they did come to visit in January, they were given little goodies. I mean, we really try to attract them, and that's been part of our publicity plan, to get kids in. And I think really over the years we've gotten an excellent reputation at Sherman. And when you come in, you know, we have a very caring school climate. You feel that when you walk in. Kids are excited to be in a school where you have small class sizes, where everybody knows your name. You don't get lost in the crowd. So all of those things are really very positive aspects of Shepaug.
All right, anything else on this issue? Michelle?
I just wanted to thank Kim and the guidance department and the administration for all of that work. I think 15 students is something definitely to be celebrated. That class just went from 61 to 72, so actually more than that. So very exciting and an unanticipated consequence of the excitement around the Ag STEM program. 15 kids tuitioning in is not nothing. I wanted to ask about the enrollment projections. We had talked about having someone else do that just to see if their methodology is at all different than Dr. Prada. Because I forget, these are a little bit old.
It's in CABE. They're called McBroom and, do you know, McGlone and McBroom. So I think what we can do is at a future meeting, have one of them come and make a presentation. I know there are many districts that use them also. And I don't know if we do both, if we do one, but certainly I think the board should explore their options, and we're happy to set that up at the next business meeting.
That'd be great, because what was the last, I feel like, did we skip a year? Did we not do last year? 2013? Oh, it was last year? That's what I thought, but for some reason I thought last year's was the previous year.
It's always good to get another opinion.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on this? All right, then, thank you for that. 7.2, Shepaug Valley School update. Ms. Gallo.
I wanted just background while I was speaking because I actually love the picture of our students. From the moment I first saw a computer, I think I hated the word loading, and I hate that face worse. I'll tell you what the, Lori, would you please fuss with that thing, because the second slide is really necessary. The first slide is simply a picture of some of our students, and, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Okay, it's a picture of four of our students and one teacher. And the reason for that is that these students made a short film last year called The World I Want to Live In. They've now been invited to the White House for the Student Film Festival as a result of the success of their project. Yeah. I hope to bring them to a future board meeting so you can see their short film and you can hear from them what they learned from this process. Digital media is something that we have enhanced a great deal in the last few years, and it's receiving great success. The theater program was another thing that I thought we should highlight tonight. Last year, we joined the middle and high school theater, and the result was a wonderful, wonderful play, Seussical. I was just so impressed with our middle school kids, that some who had major roles in this and absolutely shone in them. However, we listened to parents as this went on, and we realized that having a 6 through 12 theater was very difficult for some families. The kids are young, they wind up staying out too late, so on and so forth. So we brainstormed and thought about, okay, what can we do to make this better? And we listened, and as a result, the middle school students will have their own production in the spring, and the traditional fall and spring production of the high school will remain. But the next thing, which has been the brainchild of Mrs. Harbison in her work with Mrs. Ferreira, I'm especially excited about, and that is one of our independent study classes, which is independent study musical theater production. Students will work with high school students will work with Mrs. Harbison as an independent study to, they will keep a log, a journal of everything that they do. They will work on the production, and they will take a leading role, as it were, in running the middle school production, so that we will retain the benefits of that 6-12 flavor while keeping them separate developmentally. And I'm very, very excited about that. The last thing I'd like to tell you, as our just little update things, and the last one is the most exciting, VHS now has 24 students taking 29 different classes. That is a very strong statement. Our students are taking electives like forensic science, international business, sports and society, to name a few, and they are taking many AP classes, human geography, physics, chemistry, economics, and language and composition. These are strong statements about our students wanting to do more and us being able to provide them with that in a small school setting in a way that is efficient. I'd also like to thank the board for supplying us with the after-school program. What we've done with what you've given us for our AP VHS offerings is we've created a support program for our students. AP Physics and Chemistry especially are difficult courses to take online. our chemistry students do titration. If you know anything about titration, you don't do that at your kitchen sink. It's very sophisticated equipment. It's a very sophisticated conversation, and we're able to provide our students with a teacher who is helping them during advisory, and another teacher who gives them the opportunity for an after-school support program so that these students have someone to talk to. And our physics students have a teacher that they can come and see every day if it fits in their schedule. It's a regular class, excuse me, and you should know that the point of this is because we have so few students right now taking these classes, this will help us to build the program so that we can bring it back into the school at a time when it's fiscally responsible. These are important things that we're trying to do, and it's important to support our students because they are taking risks by doing these classes in that way. I will also say that it's important for them to have those experiences because I know from my two sons who are right now in college, most of their education, much of their education, winds up being online. Sunday dinner at my house is usually concluded with, I have a paper due, I have to leave early. Much to their delight, I might add. So these are important experiences for our kids. The last thing I want to tell you about is the most important, and that is our parent goal. I was going to show it to you on the screen. I'm going to tell you about it now, because fussing over this machine doesn't make me happy. If you can, I'll just say thank you, Lori. Our parent goal. You know what our parent goals have been about. It has been about communication year after year in response to our climate surveys, wanting to be able to do more for our families. Excuse me. We have done things like set a standard for how long it will take teachers to get back to parents. We have done things like encouraging teachers to communicate with parents on a regular basis. Things that we can talk to about our parents. This parent goal is especially important because it gives our parents a chance to have a meaningful conversation with their kids. Our parent goal this year is to increase parent and community awareness of course offerings and content. I won't read you the whole thing, but through the use of an extended course syllabi. And Mrs. Ferreira has worked very hard on this and is absolutely an expert in this matter, and we are very, very fortunate to have what we have. I know you're going to be impressed. Most importantly, what we'll be talking to parents about is when you look at this extended course syllabi, if you're a student, you know what's expected of you in this course. You will have an idea about what the rigorous learning will contain. If you're a parent, you will know what to talk with your student about. We all know what it's like to say to our kids, what did you learn in school today? Nothing. You know, that is not necessarily a rich conversation. When you have an extended course syllabi in front of you, you are having that rich conversation because you can say, I see that you're talking about titration in chemistry right now. How's that going? Can you show me that in your book? So on and so forth. Specific things for parents to talk to about with their students. And when you look at the format, I only wish that I had filmed some of the conversations that I've seen Mrs. Ferreira having with teachers as these are created. So when I walk into the library and Mrs. Ferreira, or into the work area, and Mrs. Ferreira and our teachers are talking about these extended course syllabi, it is a rich conversation. She will make a joke and talk it down. I will talk it up because it's thrilling to take notice of, and I look very forward to walking you through this technologically. Can I go? Yes, you may. Come up and talk all about it. You have to be at the microphone, Lori. I'll do the drive.
Okay. So what you'll all be able to do, or any community member, board member, student, parent, family, is you will be able to go to the Shepaug website, unlike we are doing right now. No. Can you get there, Kim? You'll be able to go to the Shepaug website, and you'll see I've started a new tab called Academics up there in the corner. Right. If you hit on that corner, that tab, and you hit on any of the disciplines, you will get, let's go to grade 9 English, Kim. You will get what we're doing now, you will get an extended course syllabus, so you will get the course description, then you will get if you can scroll down, Kim, you will get unit by unit, the skills, the activities, keep going, and the assessments they have for that unit. And you will get a blow-by-blow for each unit of study. Then at the end, you will get what they do, if for that particular unit, what they do for Honors Challenge. You can continue to scroll through, and then you'll get the class policies at the end. So you will get one of those for every course that we teach at Shepaug. It's a lot of work, and the teachers have, Scott, are you rolling your eyes at me? Okay. Kim, if you can go to another, let's look at,
How do you go backwards?
okay. So give me world language. Give me Spanish 3. Let's hope. So I'm going to show you one that's a little different. So again, you'll get the course description. You'll get the skills. Keep going, Kim. You'll get unit by unit, all the skills, all the activities, the assessments that are taught by unit. And then you will get, in the case of world language, they do their honors challenge a little different. They don't do it by unit. They do it by year-long project. So if you'll scroll all the way down, Kim, you will get, at the very end, a detailed syllabus of honors challenge, and then the rubrics that go along to measure it. So I think the feedback that I got from board members over the course of last year was that they didn't, it was arduous to navigate the guidebook. So now you can get each course. I had gotten feedback about, as a parent, parents wanted to know more about what the student was learning, when the student had assessments due, what honors challenge was all about. Hopefully this syllabus will answer a lot of those questions. Give me an art one, Kim. I have to show off the art ones just because the art teachers would not agree to abide by my template. So go to Art Foundations. They insisted that when they did their syllabi, they would put student work under each major unit of study so that students and you could see what the work looks like. So when you go to Art Foundations, keep scrolling down, Kim, for each major unit of study, you will see, scroll back up, it's just not keeping up with us. You will see samples of the student work exemplars. So it takes me about 3 weeks to work with each teacher to write the syllabi, and then we edit it and we put it up. So I anticipate that by December, the first semester of every course in the school should be up. And then by maybe January or February, the second semester of every course in the school should be up. Then after that, it will be just a matter of editing or adding new courses, obviously. Let's hope, right? But if you have any questions, you can email me, because now we'll be able to go to the same page. I'm not very techno-literate, but this Google thing, I'm getting it. So we can go to the same page and then talk, either on the phone or via email. And when the teacher updates their website, my page will also be updated. So we'll all be on the same metaphorical page. So I don't think you need to see any more, but I hope you take the tour for yourself. Any questions? I shouldn't be.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Well,
Alan?
Laurie, I just want to know, and though this adds another level of complexity, but maybe not, will these be available under the courses in Power School as well? Sometimes it'll say see course syllabus. So there may be a place in there where you can do some kind of link.
I can't get Wes speaking here, but here's my guess, if we have a place on Power School to say see course syllabus, there's no reason why you couldn't get enough characters in there for a link. Wasn't that a good answer?
Anyone else? Valerie?
Why couldn't you have done this 7 years ago when my daughter was here? No, this is fabulous because frankly, the biggest problem I encountered as a parent with a high school kid, and everything is top secret with a high school kid, is trying to find out the workload and when things are due and what's expected, and now it's there. So thank you very, very much.
All right, anyone else? All right, thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Anthony.
So I want to say thank you for the effort. Having been involved in some of these conversations earlier on, it's a real pleasure to see it all start to come out, as we say, in release 1. So I'm really looking forward to release 2 to see what next innovation, this sparks. And that's what I think we're all hoping for, is to see, what we could accomplish, and then look for the next one and start building up a real head of steam. Yeah. 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 This is great, and your answer was, in my opinion, the perfect answer to Alan's question, because there is a natural, when you start to see these come together, these little links, a little thing, by putting in a live link, takes a lot of the sort of frustration of dealing with trying to navigate a website that's packed with, let's say, too much information, because you get lost, you get discouraged, and you get turned off. And think about your own personal life, when you use other websites. So putting in those links to be able to kind of jump back and forth is really an easy next step. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, thank you. Next item, 7.3, Agri-Science Update. Dr. Costino, anything?
No, I just think we're waiting to hear from the state, and as soon as we hear, we will discuss. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone, Valerie?
Well, I'm really disappointed because not in anything that you're doing, Pat, but we hear week after week parents say, please, let's get shovel ready. And we know that shovel ready is where we have to be in order for the state to even think about us funding for the next steps. And obviously we don't want to throw money away, but the mandate is clear, and yet we're kind of just sitting. And I understand that we're working on information that the state has to provide, but there must be a way out of this dilemma. I don't understand. It's a square footage issue having to do with the characteristics of an ag STEM program. In the meantime, let's not forget we have science labs just sitting undone too, and we're kind of hit on our accreditation, not hit, but it was mentioned in our great accreditation, that's something we need to attend to. So what are the characteristics of shovel ready? And what is our time frame? And can we start getting a time frame ready? If it's a matter of square footage because we have a horse, can't we build that in or not?
I have a phone call. I had a phone call with 2 of the state attorneys a week and a half ago. I'm waiting to hear back from them. They are looking at our enrollment numbers. The call also included our attorney. And my message to them was, we feel that we can bring in these students. The 226, 196, which is 49 a year, and 30 from our region. But we also said, we understand, and that's based on applications. That is based on applications of students who apply to Nanuag who do not get in. Okay, and those are based on the students who apply. A lot of students don't even apply. So there are a lot of different layers. We asked the attorneys to get back to us. If you weren't happy with those numbers, for whatever reason, the Danbury letter, anything, whatever it is, just tell us what you are, what parameter you are comfortable with, and we would work within that parameter. I also have a meeting scheduled with Commissioner Wenzel, one-on-one, and that will happen before the next board meeting. And so I am hopeful that if nothing else, by the end of the month, we will have direction to move in. And that's really where we are right now. DAS, which is responsible for the building and the size and the ADA requirements and heating and looking at your plans, et cetera, really doesn't want to address our building, any part of it, until we get that number confirmed from the State Department of Education. So that's where we are. It's a very fluid situation. I think, patience is a virtue. But we're still moving forward. I will tell you that every time I do speak to someone at the state, in DAS, in the commissioner's office, they all say that we support you, we support you, we support you, we want this to happen. We just have to make sure that it's the right size, and that's what we're working on. So as soon as if we can just, the board can just be, 3 more weeks, tops. Hopefully we'll have a lot more answers, and then we can move forward from there.
And what about your visit to Danbury, or is there a visit? And by the way, it must be extremely difficult to talk to leaders in other towns when, and this is my word, rogue groups are already swooping in, and it's very complicated, and we've got all sorts of bad PR out there, which has to be reversed.
Right. We have a meeting scheduled with Bethel, which I'll get the date to the board in the future. And with Danbury, we have people working on that from the town side. And as soon as we get information, we'll let you know. But you are correct. When letters are in the newspaper about the administration, the staff, the project, et cetera, it looks badly for everyone. And I think one of the things that is so important for the project for me, as opposed to what's good for the kids, is that this project will provide free advertisement to all of the people who will travel through the towns, who will stop at the stores, who will go to your restaurants and bring in traffic to Bridgewater, Roxbury, and Washington. And I know that people in all 3 towns are trying to raise the level of excitement for the 3 towns and attract families. And every time there's a letter in the paper or an article that speaks badly about the region, it just detracts from all the good things that we're doing. So I would echo what you say and ask people to give us a little time to look into this. As Mr. Hirschfield said, the board's going to make the best decision for the region and the children. But right now, we're waiting.
Because we've got a lot of people out there, including the mother bringing in a baby and a toddler. And that's why I left, to thank her for her efforts, which are monumental, bring in 2 little ones at this time. And we get all sorts of support. And what Jim said in particular has to be repeated. When we get to that point where the information is in and we can start proceeding and we'll have this conversation in depth, numbers reviewed, everything reviewed, to reiterate that we're going to go forward, shovel ready, we'll have this conversation. There'll be lots of information. There'll be a lot of repetition of information, so everyone is fine. I mean, we're always about the public and the public asking us the appropriate questions and us providing the appropriate facts back to them. So I'm glad we're on some kind of schedule.
Thank you.
Poor Greg.
Do we know, just I want to reiterate, or maybe you can reiterate, do we know, or got the information on whether the schools can cap the number of students they send us? Do we know legally whether that is legal or not? That's,
I don't know.
you don't know the answer to that. But it's an important attribute of the whole concept, because if schools are no dummies. I mean, they're not just going to open the doors and let the kids walk out. They're going to set parameters on just how many kids can come to your school system, because they have the same problems we do. So it
My
would
only
be important to
hesitation,
know
Peter,
that.
My only hesitation is that I'm not the board's attorney, so I don't want to give the final word. My understanding is that towns can limit. They can do what they wish with their students. That's my understanding. Okay. All right. Anyone else on this? All right, thank you. All right, item 8, new business. Is there any new business before the board? All right, item 9, action items. We decided to put this on the agenda to follow up for things that were brought up at a meeting and we asked, to be followed up on. So one item was this, I was asked to communicate with Trooper Sortie, the Washington resident trooper, about the incident. There really was no incident, but the apparent incident with regard to the threat made to the Roxbury school. Some people were upset until they learned the truth that there really was never a threat to the Booth Free School in Roxbury. Apparently there was someone who called, my understanding is from Stamford, trying to call a school called the Roxbury School in Stamford, and he called instead a school in some state out west or Midwest, Ohio. I guess the board felt there was some miscommunication or something that the state police could have done more to allay the fears of parents who were on social media at that time when this incident arose on a Saturday. Dr. Cosentino and I did meet with Trooper Sortie last week. He said that he felt that everything had been done that could be done at that time. It was a Saturday. He said that he felt that the most important thing for this district and his office is communication between the district and his office, and he said that we have excellent communication, that the superintendent's office has excellent communication with him, with the state police and the other resident troopers' offices, and just wants to keep it that way. And it's unfortunate that it did get caught up in social media, and there were parents who were concerned, but there was really never any threat to the Booth Free School in Roxbury. So we did have that meeting. I think we have a very good relationship with our state trooper, and he commended our safety officer that we have here at the school, says she does an excellent job, really puts in a lot of time, and felt that we're very fortunate to have such a good person. So I just wanted to follow up and report to the board that we did meet with Trooper Sortie, and the meeting went very well. All right. So the next item, 10, is there a vote to go into executive session to review non-certified staff contract extensions? Michelle moves. Is there a second? Valerie seconds. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, we're in executive session at approximately 8:40 p.m. Thank you all.
Get it done fast. We can go in that room.